people. We are going to talk about it. And Candace Owens believes conservatives like Kim Klacik are wasting their time in cities like Baltimore. Yes, we are going to talk about that and more next. Enemy territory here. Hello. It's Wednesday and it's time for Pop and Politics. We are talking about the latest in hot topics, news, and entertainment. I'm KJ, and let me introduce you to my co-hosts. We have Shelly E., Yana, and joining us tonight, we have back with us pageant queen and pageant director, Kendra Patterson. And then also for the first time, we have with us Shonda Patterson. She is an educator, advocate. So we have her tonight. How are you all doing?
Hello.
Awesome.
Yes, good. Again, join the conversation, as I always say, by leaving a comment on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. We will check the comments periodically throughout the show. And don't just comment, subscribe. Subscribe to our social media so you always know when we post new content. Also, if you like independent media and want to support what we do, donate. Any amount is appreciated. You can go right to our website at www.popandpoliticslive.com for up-to-date information. Again, we are a necessary voice in news and entertainment. And don't forget to subscribe. As I already said, subscribe. When you go on there, you can hit the notifications bell so when we go, you know. Okay? All right, ladies, let's set it off. We are starting off the night with education here right in Baltimore. We've been talking about this for a while now, the education failures within Baltimore City. But tonight, we're going to talk a little bit more. According to Fox 45 News, as they report, a recent test scores raised concerns over Baltimore City Public Schools' Boost program. It's actually in jeopardy. It is a program that provides families in need more school choice. Now, during his State of the State address, Governor Moore, newly elected Governor Moore, pushed public education as a top priority. But Moore's budget cuts the Boost program by 20%, from $10 million to $8 million. And could prevent new students from receiving scholarships, except for siblings of those already in the program. So Boost is a program that offers scholarships, vouchers to students from low-income families, so allowing them to attend parochial and other non-public schools. So the move could impact thousands of low-income students. I want to start with you tonight, Shelly. Governor Moore seems to be, as far as his budget is concerned, adding funding for public schools, like for hiring better teachers, tutoring programs, etc. But this school choice type of program is a casualty. Has he made the better choice?
Absolutely not. Look, you said the key word seems. These people are frauds. I said from the beginning when we went over his platform that his platform was basically full of fluff. And he is going to continue to run down not only the budget, but the city. This is the same thing Obama did when he was in office. Take away the private school, the vouchers for low-income families to better their education for their children. He went to Rhodes. He was a scholar. Why the hell can't Baltimore City or low-income parents have those same opportunities? He's full of it.
All right. Yana, I want to go to you. I mean, Shelly raised some good points. Moore did attend an elite private elementary school and then went on to graduate from a private military academy. So why do you think he would cut this program that helps families get the same benefits that he had?
I mean, the only answer I can think of is he's a Marxist. That's something a Marxist would do. And to take away opportunities to basically equalize everyone. So he doesn't, they're fighting against private schools because they're businesses and part of capitalism. So they want to fight against that. and throw more money into these socialist schools that don't work.
All right. Now, Kendra, I know you are down in South Carolina, but this is something that's pretty much all over the country. We're seeing some of these states cut uh, vouchers and school choice programs, and they say that they're going to give the money to public schools. What are your thoughts there? Is it a good idea?
I don't know if it's necessarily a good idea. I think that above all else, there has to be transparency. Like if you're going to move the $2 million from there, from what we see has tangible results. Like where is the $2 million going, and how is that going to help the public schools? So I think for me, I don't think that it's a good idea. I think having that option and that opportunity is always great. But if you're going to move the money, I think it should be moved with a plan if that's what he's going to do.
Mhm. All right. I want to go to you, Shonda, as an educator. You've been looking at the education system for a while now. What are your thoughts on this cutting of this program?
I think it's absolutely absurd. To be honest, I don't understand how putting more money into public education is the answer. Baltimore City has one of the highest, paid per capita of students, and yet and still the outcome is totally subpar. So how is it that we've already seen more funding, more funding, more funding? And how is that the answer to fixing the problem? So instead of fixing that problem, you're now posing another problem. And the problem is now that, what is going to happen to the kids and the families that depend on this money in order to be able to do their, continue in their private education. I read an article that said that 70% of students that go to Catholic schools, many of them get funding from that program. So where is that going to leave a lot of the students that are attending these schools? So now they're going to be forced to go to public schools that aren't producing the outcomes that we would like. I think it's totally, a piece of trash.
Yeah, good points. Good points. But what about the argument? Especially, this is an argument that's pushed on the left that when funds are no longer are taken away from these public schools, then the public schools get worse. So this is kind of like the idea of why some people are against school choice, because they feel like these people take this money and go elsewhere outside of the public school system, leaving it to kind of become dysfunctional. Well, not even more dysfunctional.
Well, that's a fallacious argument because they already are dysfunctional and they already have produced poor results. So that's a fallacious argument, number one. Number two, if that's the case, I say let them disintegrate so all the children can go have other options and then use them. It's called competition, and that's what capitalism is. When there's competition, you tend to get better results. And where people put their money, when the families are responsible for their money, where they put it, they tend to be more involved and more concerned about their dollars.
All right. I'd like to get the audience to chime in on this. If there are any people that feel like this, Governor Moore is doing a good job with this by allocating more money towards public schools and kind of taking some money towards this school choice program. Chime in. We'd love to hear your comments on that. So definitely, we will continue to follow this story. We do right now have Delegate Jeff Crist, a Republican representing Caroline, Cecil, Kent, and Queen Anne's counties. He's put forward a bill to codify the Boost program by making it permanent and writing it into state law. So the move follows what appears to be a national trend toward more school choice policies. So definitely, we will continue to follow this along with the Baltimore City Public School System stories. They've been in the news, they've been national news, and it's something that we definitely want to keep at front of mind. All right, please, if you're watching, don't forget to subscribe. Continue these comments throughout the night. We will check the comments periodically throughout the show, but certainly subscribe. Subscribe, hit that notifications button. That way you know when we are going live or putting out content. You get first notified about that. So definitely subscribe. And it helps to make our voice that much stronger. All right. So we're moving right along. Speaking of Baltimore City, It's been Kim Klacik was in the news. She has again another quarrel with Candace Owens, and take a look at this clip.
Of the top 5 female grifters of all time. People have accused me of grifting with absolutely no evidence. I've been very honest always from the very beginning, from start to finish. But some other people have not been so honest. And some people were honest, but they just got in on a weird grift. And I want to acknowledge those people formally because I can applaud them on their success. First and foremost, obviously this one, personal to me, I'm going to put Kim Klacik on the list.
Do you care about Black lives? The people that run Baltimore don't.
I mean, come on. From the strip club to the RNC main stage with $8 million raised. Popped up on the scene. She had a flashy video wearing a red dress, walking down in heels, talking about how she was going to clean up Baltimore. And this kind of became, by the way, a very recognized grift now. People should be paying more attention to people that make flashy videos and say that they're running in districts that they cannot possibly win, and then raising tons of money because they're saying all the right buzzwords and they're kind of leaning into this hope that the GOP has that, this is actually going to be a great Black candidate and we can finally not have to deal with these ridiculous, baseless racism claims. Well, she did it better than everybody else, so let's acknowledge her as the queen of the grift.
So a lot to unpack there. First, she's making claims as if Kim Klacik didn't have any intention on winning, and really Baltimore City should not be, Republicans should not even try to win political seats in Baltimore City. She's kind of said this before. She basically feels like Republicans, conservatives should not run in urban centers. Thoughts on this, Shelley?
Well, this is bitch fest redo. Okay, we've been here before, and I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. Kim has absolutely no charges of fraud or grifting. Let's just put it in street terms. Basically, Candace is saying she's a thief. Okay, so but yet Candace and other so-called Black historians now, because Candace is a Black historian now. She should be noted in Black History Month. But other so-called Black historians, they haven't done or been in Baltimore either. Kim at least tried. Did she win? Absolutely not. But she has not been charged with any kind of fraud. And I'm sick of this argument. Again, this is nothing but bitch fest, okay? Because Kim got more publicity than Candace did at a certain time. And you just cannot have 2 Black women doing that. Somebody has to come out on top. And Candace is riding this horse, beating this horse, and I'm sick of it. This is bitch fest redo.
All right, Yana, I want to get your thoughts. Now, Shelley didn't answer the question, so I'm going to ask you the same. Do you believe that conservatives should run in or try to get elected in urban centers, very leftist centers? Do you think we should even try to do this? Because this is what Candace Owens is pretty much saying. She's saying that Kim, is a grifter because she was trying to win what she calls an unelectable district. Your thoughts?
No, I disagree with Candace Owens on that. I think that it's absolutely perfectly fine to run in cities, in districts where maybe the majority are voting Democrat. And if you're a Republican, absolutely. I mean, even if you don't win, you're talking to people, you're giving people other ideas, options. You will get some votes, and those people will talk to others. They will, spread your message. Also, you may give hope to other candidates in other places in the country. So if we had that kind of mentality that she is suggesting, then we won't win. We won't change really much at all. Like, we won't change how the country works, what's the setup, which parties control what, and that is what she's saying. I would say that's like un-American, really, what she's saying. As an American, you have to risk, you have to believe in the process, that the people deserve to have options when it comes to parties. So I'm very disappointed with Candace Owens, especially now that she came up with this again about Kim Klacik. I mean, it was one time, okay, fine. We looked at it, okay, she felt like she needed to bring something up, but why now? Like it's over. And so she's being catty and she's picking fights. I don't understand what's the point.
Yeah. I want to go to you, Kendra, because we all lean to the right, but you are more left of center. So what are your thoughts? Because you're one of the people that a lot of conservatives try to draw onto to get people to get elected. They try to reach you. Do you feel like that conservatives should continue to try to reach Democrats or areas that are highly Democratic areas?
Oh, absolutely. I think that if for no other reason, it pushes the people in power to be accountable. It pushes conversations. It pushes accountability. So even in a space where you may not necessarily win, I think that when you sow the seeds, you water them, and over time, then look at Georgia. Georgia went from deep red, now she purple. So I think that if we had the Candace Owens mindset of, oh well, they just Democrat and it don't matter, that's dumb. But y'all the one that gave that girl that type of power because she rode the wave. So this is y'all fault. Y'all created that monster. So now y'all go get your monster and handle her because y'all did this. That's y'all friend. I don't know that lady.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Shonda, your thoughts on this? And I want to ask you a different question. Because you heard Candace Owens. She mentioned, and again, she mentioned Kim's alleged past of being a stripper, and she continues to throw this mud, like as if you have a past or that stripping or whatever a past that you may not be so proud about, you shouldn't run for office. Is that? Do you agree with that notion?
Well, most of us have something in our past that we're not so proud about. And I'm sure if someone went digging around in her past, they'd be able to find something too. So I think that first and foremost, she should leave that alone. The second thing for me is just that I think that what we forget here is that a lot of times when people are voting purely Democrat, specifically in Black communities, it is out of lack of knowledge. They're very ignorant to the political, the aspirations that each party has. All they know is that they're doing it out of tradition. Their mom was Democrat, their dad was Democrat, their families and their friends are Democrat, and they don't really know the issues. And so having someone actually to put the issues forefront and center allows people to evaluate what it is that they're voting for and whom it is that they're voting for. So I don't think it's a lost cause. I mean, it's pretty much like saying, leave them and run. You know what I mean? And I think it's terrible. I think it's really terrible because basically you're telling us to leave people who may be lost, may be misinformed, to just leave them. And it's going to cause, it's going to be no hope for them. And that's ridiculous. So we're not supposed to take care of each other. We're not supposed to help clear up misinformation and maybe information that just wasn't provided in the first place. So I think it is really terrible that she's just bashing her and, calling her names simply because she's doing something that she wouldn't. It's okay for, people to have a difference in how they do things, but it's not okay for her to be catty like that.
Yeah, it wasn't a good look. I didn't think it was a good look at all for Candace Owens. I mean, she already is kind of a very divisive person, and then she claimed that she's all her goal from beginning to up until today has been to go after the Black community, and this doesn't seem like a way to do that. You have her sitting here. Basically, she doesn't want to provide an option to Black people who live in left-leaning areas. And again, as Yana said, as many of you have said, that's un-American. We don't give up. We continue. We sow the seed, as Kendra said, and water it and continue to watch it until it bears fruit. So it wasn't a good look. It was catty. As Shelley said, it was a bitchy, and definitely we're from Baltimore. Okay, so many of us live in Baltimore, and we are here. We've seen the work that Kim Klacik has done. I mean, goodness gracious! Not only did she raise that money, but she also helped a lot of other candidates who were running at the same time and who continue to run. She helps these candidates in Baltimore and really around the country. I mean, the girl doesn't stop. So I don't know what Candace Owens is talking about, but she's definitely biting up the wrong tree. All right.
Can I just say that I think it was an insult on the urban centers to say that, just let them do what they're going to do and have their own opinion, to not even offer the information. So not only did she insult Kim, and whether you was a stripper before or a hoe or whatever you was before you decided to run for office, that's your business. But I think it is it's blasphemous, and it's insulting to it should be insulting to any Black people to say, you know what, they don't even need the information. They don't need the different perspective because it's not worth it. It's not worth the time. And I think for her being a Black woman, that was just insulting.
And yeah, it was. It certainly was. And again, this is the one gripe that people have with Candace Owens, and that she doesn't connect with Black women. Her primary audience, so she claims, is to get Black grow the Black conservative movement. But she bring conservative principles to urban centers, yet she has no connection. This is just another example that she lacks the connection, lacks the communication to the Black community. Shelley, you can have the last word.
Yeah, and I wanted to say something. Kansas also has a national nonprofit that its focus is for urban areas with predominantly minority African American populations. So this does not sit well when she's saying things like this. So if you have this nonprofit that you want to reach these same areas, and on one hand, and then you're saying, oh, when conservatives try, they shouldn't, they're grifting. Come on, it doesn't sit well.
Yeah, that's a great point. So we will continue. Hopefully this is the end of this. I mean, gosh, it comes off very catty, very catty. She continues to go after Kim Klacik. She's not a girl's girl at all. And for the first day of Women's Month, Women's History Month, it's nasty.
It's disappointing. I used to like her. I used to listen to her when she had her own YouTube show. And but lately it's all about her. It's all about her own ego, and she cannot handle any criticism at all. So that's how she lashes out at people. Like every time she feels anything, that any kind of attack on her, she does not respond wisely to it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and I really hope, because again, we need them both. I mean, whether you say what you want about Candace Owens, I enjoyed her documentary she did on BLM. She has raised some great points. She kind of started me and many of us within the conservative movement. Started our piqued our interest. Oh well, Shelley's saying not me.
Mm-mm.
No, okay, well.
Well, in my opinion, she's kind of repulsive. She repels people. She's not, I mean, if I was not a member of, and I'm, if I'm not a member of the conservative community, she's not going to be the person that draws me in. She is not very welcoming. She has a really bad attitude, and the way that she conducts herself, to me, is not very appealing to want someone else to come to talk to her or to bring anything to her. So, it's like the church, the people that are in the Christian community that people don't want to talk to because they're going to beat them over the head. No, she is not the voice for the conservative Black women, if you ask me.
Well, you might be right. I mean, like you said, she does repel people, but she does have a large movement behind her, and a lot of Black people, whether we like it or not, they are drawn to her just because she does, whether she's not the most nicest way to tell it, but she spits facts. She does. She spits facts, and but it's just not a lot. She's not a good person if she's trying to reach Black people. She's trying to reach the urban community. She's not. But she does have a large following. She does. So, we'll continue to follow this story. and definitely keep you guys updated. Continue with the comments. Join the conversation by leaving a comment on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, and subscribe. Share this broadcast as you watch it. Send it in a messenger, DM, post it to your timeline on your social media. We definitely got to get the word out about pop and politics. Again, we are a necessary voice in news and entertainment. All right, so we're moving right along, kind of keeping it on the kind of like the racial theme. Want to talk about Scott Adams. We will talk about Gabrielle Union in just a moment, but I want to get into Scott Adams and his. He is the newspaper. Well, let's talk about this. Newspapers across the country dropped the Dilbert comic strip over the weekend after the creator Scott Adams of the satirical cartoon went on a racist tirade, calling Black Americans a hate group and suggesting that white people should, and I quote, get the hell away. Take a look at this clip.
Nearly half of all blacks are not okay with white people, according to this poll, not according to me, according to this poll. That's a hate group. That's a hate group. And I don't want to have anything to do with them. And I would say, based on the current way things are going, the best advice I would give to white people is to get the hell away from black people. Just get the fuck away. Wherever you have to go, just get away. Because there's no fixing this. This can't be fixed. Right? This can't be fixed. You just have to escape. So that's what I did. I went to a neighborhood where, I have a very low black population. Because unfortunately, there's a high correlation between the density. And this is according to Don Lemon, by the way. So here I'm just quoting Don Lemon when he notes that when he lived in a mostly black neighborhood, there were a bunch of problems that he didn't see in white neighborhoods.
Respect where you live. Start small by not dropping trash, littering in your own communities. I've lived in several predominantly white neighborhoods in my life. I rarely, if ever, witness people littering. I live in Harlem now. It's an historically black neighborhood. Every single day I see adults and children dropping their trash on the ground when a garbage can is just feet away. Just being honest here.
So even Don Lemon sees a big difference in your own quality of living based on where you live and who's there. So I think it makes no sense whatsoever as a white citizen of America to try to help black citizens anymore. It doesn't make sense. It's no longer a rational impulse. And so I'm gonna back off from being helpful to black America because it doesn't seem like it pays off. Like I've been doing it all my life, and the only outcome is I get called a racist. That's the only outcome. It makes no sense to help black Americans if you're white. It's over. Don't even think it's worth trying. Totally not trying. And there we go. You didn't expect that today, did you? But those who don't want to focus on education, you just need to get away from them. Just get as much distance as you can. That's my recommendation. And I'm also really sick of seeing video after video of black Americans beating up non-black citizens. I realize it's anecdotal, and it doesn't give me a full picture of what's happening. But every damn day I look on social media and there's some black person beating the shit out of some white person. I'm kind of over it. I'm over it. Right? So I quit.
Woo! All right. So, lot to unpack. First off, is there anyone, you know what? I will start off with you, Shelly. Did you find the video and what he said offensive?
No, I did not find it offensive. I found some of it factual. Let me say what part I found factual. He said that he sees black people beating up on non-white people. Well, hell, where I live And where a lot of other black people I know live, it's black on blacks. They're beating each other to death, literally. Okay, so I'm correcting him there. I know he was trying to be, a little satire, a little irony here, but some of what he said is about self-preservation. Number two, some of the Patrice Cullors and the Candace Owens and some of these other Jack and Jill type black people, they don't live with black people either. They get rich and they buy homes in white areas like the Donna Lemons do. So they do it too. So he's talking facts. Now, there are a lot of people who's going to say he was racist. Of course, they're going to throw that out there. Maybe he is. I don't know. But I do know he's been a leftist most of his life. So he's been helping. He's even helped with black BLM before causes and things like that. So no, I think some of it was very factual. I just think it applies a little bit more in the black community.
All right. I want to jump around. I want to go to you, Kendra. What did you think about what Dilbert creator said? Did you find it offensive? And if so, why?
I don't know if I necessarily found it offensive. I just think that if they leaving, where they going? That was my first question. Get far away from them. And what about the people who got biracial children? Where they going? You just gonna up and leave half your kids? So I just had so many questions. Now, as far as the litter part, now that part, we got to give him a point there because, people just don't like picking up trash, but that's a litter and recycling issue. That's not necessarily a color issue.
Well, he's saying that if you saw, as Don Lemon said, he felt like in black areas, black people in general throw trash on the floor, on the ground.
Right. And I understand that. That's right. And I get that. But like I said, it's like, okay, that's laziness. We can call a thing and say, it's lazy to throw trash on the ground when there's a trash can right there, but that's lazy across the board.
Oh, you're saying, so you disagree. You believe that it's not just in black communities, white people.
No, I live around white people, and do you know how many I had to pick up? My dog is only 15 pounds. Now, why did I have to pick up the white people, big pit bull poop today? Because they didn't pick it up, and I didn't want to step in it. So, I'm just saying that people are just lazy at times, and it's not just the black laziness thing. White people don't pick up their dog poop when they poop in the yard. So I just think, you know what? They got trash in bottles. White people got poop in the yard. People are just going to be lazy when they want to be lazy. But I think that he feels how he feels. If you don't want to be around black people probably don't want to be around him either. I think it's a mutual, we good, we cool.
I want to go to you, Shonda. Did you find what he said to be all right? It was okay with you?
Yeah, it was okay with me. I mean, honestly, living in so when I hear this, what automatically comes to mind for me is not just black people, it's black people in urban areas where they don't own anything. And in my experience and in my opinion, they do. I mean, you could be driving down the street in Baltimore City and see people throwing chicken out the window and putting their cups outside their door in the grocery store parking lot and all kinds of foolishness. And it's simply because they don't have any stake. They don't have any a house in the area. They're renting. They're on, government assistance and public housing. And so they could care less because they're not worried about property values and things like that. So yes, I agree with that. I also feel like what he's saying is, I've been supporting black people my whole life, and they're still saying it's not okay to be white. If you've been supporting somebody and they still don't want to accept you, would you still support them? That's just, to me, that's a human trait, not a black thing, a white thing. It's just common sense. If somebody don't support me, I'm not supporting them. Why do I have to keep going out of my way to support them, right? That doesn't make any sense. And then for him to say they need to run, well, guess what? Black people run from their own people all the time. When things get bad in the city, guess what? They pick up and move out to the county. They go out to other neighborhoods and areas where their people are not there because they think the same thing. The problem is they don't like white people to say it. If a black person say it, then it's all good. Oh, you moving on up to the east side like the Jeffersons, right? But if a white person say it, then they so wrong. No. We can call a spade a spade. And the fact is, a lot of Black people in urban communities trash their own communities. A fact is, a lot of Black people are the most racist people as I don't know what. They think that they can say whatever they want about white people, but white people can't say whatever they want about them. And if that's how he feels, furthermore, I want to know. Please tell me that's how you feel. Don't hide it and talk to your friends about it. Now we know it's all out in the open. Everybody has a right to their own opinion, and he definitely has a right to his.
Good. All right. Yana, what are your thoughts here? What he said racist or offensive to you?
Well, what he said, I mean, I have to relate to. Like, unfortunately, I understand what he's saying, and I agree with the other ladies here. And I mean, from my experience too, everyone suffers in those types of neighborhoods where it's not safe. It's not just the white people, obviously. Everyone who lives in unfortunately predominantly Black areas suffer, because I lived most of my adult life in urban, predominantly Black or Hispanic neighborhoods. And I had my windows smashed multiple times in my car. I had my wheels taken off like my car completely. I had a catalytic converter cut off out of my car. I was almost mugged. I had to fight against the people. I was kicked. I was assaulted, and had the guy arrested. So, and it was happening to my neighbors too, who were Black women, Black single women that lived in my building. Their vehicles were vandalized as well. So, unfortunately, I think decent people should try to move away. So it's not just white people, of course. It's just decent people should not live amongst people that would hurt them. So that's common sense. And also, I agree that people should not be trying to help someone just based on their race. So this whole thing, oh, let's help, this race or that race. I mean, it seems, you should help people, not just Black people, not just Hispanics, not just Chinese, just help people if you want to help people. But yeah, when it's, I can definitely understand the frustration that people are experiencing after years of being in this type of environment and not being treated with respect in those areas. So yeah, I understand.
Yeah, I mean, I might be the odd man out. I was offended. Now, I wasn't offended by what I think a lot of people were. I was offended by something you said, Yana, what he said about, I don't need to help back. He's helping Black people. He's not going to help Black people anymore. And I find this a lot, especially with the left or liberal white people. They feel like it's almost like this idea that Black people are their pets and need to be helped. And so, when he kept saying, I don't need to, I'm not going to help them anymore. I'm not going to help Black people. I mean, as if that was the only kind of relationship or connection he can have with a Black person or the Black community.
Yeah,
I don't need help.
Well, and what he's doing, he's actually generalized. So in that case, it can be considered racist because he is generalizing. So just because he has this bad experience with Black people, I will just, if I see a Black person, I'm not going to help. If I'm hearing about this Black family that is struggling, there's no way I'm helping because they're Black. Right. that can come off that way.
Well, I would say this. Why does he say that? Or why does he think or feel that way? And I think this is a two-sided coin. Number one, there are a lot of people who have what we call, Sidney Sheldon, I think it is, calls white guilt, right? They have this idea that, yeah, Black people need help. But on the other side of the coin, there are many Black people who portray that they need help, that they want white people. And if white people don't do it, then they're racist. If they do it, then they're racist or whatever. It's like it's a never-ending and cycle. So we have this mentality among a lot of Black people that we always need help. You know, and the white man owes us this, and the white man did this, so they need to do this for us. So this like a double-edged coin, a two-sided coin, and it doesn't sit out pretty, doesn't end pretty. How about this? Get up off of your asses. Excuse me, I'm supposed to stop cursing. I'm sorry. Get up off your butts and do something for yourself. Stop making white people your God, for good or bad, okay? If somebody helps you, you need help. Of course, we all might need help at some time in our life, but to rely on it as a way of life and then make people feel guilty about it, that's called ingratitude, number one. And number two, it's called laziness if you don't do something for yourself in your own family.
Yeah. Well, his comments set off a firestorm amongst the left and amongst media. I mean, they pulled his Dilbert comics out of a lot of newspapers, and many headlines were saying, pretty much cancel this guy. But one thing I haven't seen talked about is I think the issue we have right now with this type of talk. I'll be honest, as a Black person, many Black people talk about this way. And I think white people, everyone, you have certain people who say off-color comments amongst people that look like them or their family. They say these off-color comments. What we have right now, though, it seems like people are bringing these off-color comments out into the public. So you used to have, back in the day, it's common for you to have some people who say inappropriate, you can see racist comments amongst themselves, like in the privacy of their home. But now we have people who, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but it has always been. But now people are starting to bring these comments out into the open, and this is where we're seeing the clash. Anybody what are your thoughts on that?
KJ, I think that 100%, like if we're all honest, we have all been in the room with our grandparents and done heard them say something that we ain't gonna repeat because it would not shine the best light on them. And if we're honest, every family have those dinner table conversations or whatever where they express themselves that probably in a way that would be seen and viewed as racist or inappropriate per se. The issue is now we done went from it being a moment amongst trusted people, because you're not going to say it around people that you don't trust, right? Now we just going to get on Joe Biden's hyperinflated internet and just say how we feel, and then it's not a safe space. Like, I'm going to just tell y'all this is what it is. Baby, no, you're supposed to do that with people that not going to, you won't have a job tomorrow because you done pissed the people off because they didn't agree with you. Now they done called down to your job. Now you ain't got no job because because of what you said. Like, if you're gonna talk trash, talk your shit, okay? Like, talk, say how you feel, but say it around people that's gonna make sure you gainfully employed the next day. That's all I'm saying. That's just stay employed, because people are gonna do it. If we all say stuff that it ain't gonna put us in the nicest light, we all have those conversations. We just probably shouldn't put them on the internet. If we want to stay employed.
I'm sorry. The challenge is that you can say stuff in private now and it still end up on the internet. There's no such thing anymore as really privacy, because you could say that amongst your family and friends and they record you, and the next thing you know, you're being blackballed because somebody then picked up you saying something that you didn't even know that they had, So, I mean, the reality is that there's very little privacy nowadays. And most of the things that you say in the dark are probably going to somehow shine in the light, right? And, and if I'm really honest, I feel like a lot of times when it comes to those kind of comments, it is acceptable for Black people to say those things in public. It's just not acceptable for white people to say them. And I mean, a white person cut you off in traffic, automatically she's a white bee. Right? If the older white lady that ran into you in the grocery store, it's it's okay. for a Black person to express their beliefs and call someone a name that is not necessarily appropriate. But when a white person does it, now they're racist. The challenge is, I don't think that many Black people feel like they can be racist.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, we're going to move on to the NAACP Image Awards. All right. So Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union Wade were honored with the President's Award for their activism and advocacy, especially in support of their trans daughter, Zaya Wade, who she came out as a trans in 2020. Union Wade spoke to the need for greater advocacy for LGBTQ community. Take a look at this clip. All right. As I said at the top of the show, if you don't support the trans agenda, you ain't Black. And that's kind of what I gathered from this NAACP Image Awards this past weekend. You saw the clip, Shonda. What are your thoughts on what Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade said?
Oh, listen, first and foremost, I just think that I don't know if they're using their daughter, to get views and, to drive up their own agendas. But I just think it's okay to help. We have children. We all have children. We want to be able to support our children in different ways. But to me, it's a difference between support and like really driving it home. Like they really are just like, it's past like, supporting them in the sense that you want them to be okay. You want to make sure they're safe, they're not harmed. It's just like, I just really think it's over the top. And and they're pushing, this trans agenda and the assumption that they're humans. As humans, we have rights. Why do their rights have to be so different from the rights of everyone else? Why do they have to get such special treatment that traditional people don't get? I just think that it's a lot. And to really say or insinuate that if you don't agree, you're not Black, I think is a far reach.
Yeah. I want to get your thoughts on this, Shelley. I mean, I think overall people felt like her speech was, especially Gabrielle Union's part, was just not believable. She was acting. What are your thoughts on that and what she says? I mean, she's pushing this whole intersectionality argument where, if you're Black, you got to fight for trans. If you're trans, fight for feminism. Everything comes together to kind of create this one victim class of that you need to fight for. So if you're not for one, you're not for all. What are your thoughts on all of that?
First, I have a new acronym for the NAACP. I'm calling it the National Agenda for the Annihilation of Colored People. Because if you follow these people, these Hollywood types, these elitists, there will be no colored people. There will be no Black people, number one. Gabrielle Union and whatever her husband's name, first of all, that is a son, okay? I forget his real name, but that's a boy, a son. They are co-signing basically the annihilation of their son as a human being in his own right. Okay, they are setting the agenda. People like this is what the media sees, and this is what the world sees, and they think that this is the image of what Black people are supposed to be. There's always some kind of victimology tied to being Black. Can you just be a Black person or just a human being who happens to have Black skin or whatever color skin? Look, they don't set the agenda. If you follow them, you are going. I'm going to say you're going to hell, but I'm not God. I can't make that decision. But if you follow them, you will really not have a life. You won't have an identity. You will be wrapped up in so much confusion and chaos that you have two parents on a national stage calling their son a girl, applauding it, and she looking like she is, fighting for some rights. Where are trans people being hunted? Black trans people. Please tell me where. Tell me where. I don't know, but this is nothing short of evil. This is nothing short of evil. The new acronym again, the National Agenda for the Annihilation of Colored People. That's what the NAACP is in my book.
I want to go to you, Kendra. I want to get your. I would like you to respond to what Shelly says, and also answer the question. I mean, based on this Image Awards that just occurred, I mean, it's highly. They were highlighting a lot of LGBTQ. Do they represent you?
I'm not a part of the alphabet soup community. I just think that, the alphabet soup should be able to just be the alphabet soup and just alphabet soup. I think that there is a line between asking for people to be able to make their own decisions with their life and their family, and I don't have to. I believe in duality. You can make the choices for you and your children. I don't have to agree with them. And there should be a respect there. And me not agreeing doesn't mean that I'm in some way transphobic, homophobic, any other phobics they be throwing around. It just means I don't agree. I can respect you and your choices and not agree with them at the same time. And for them, I think that, we can respect or not respect or them living, allowing their child to live how they choose to live, and their support of that is one thing. But to say that if I would handle the situation differently, that I'm in some way one of the phobics, that's wrong. I just don't agree. We can have two things can be true at the same time. I can have you respect as a human being. If you want, baby, if you want me to call you Timbuktu, honey, and your name is really Bob, I'm gonna call you Timbuktu. I mean, but it is what it is. I don't care. Like, I'm gonna just, hey, Timbuk, how you doing?
I don't ask you this though, Kendra. Is it time for Black people to stop supporting the NAACP based off of? Because I mean, clearly, if you look at this, it's the Image Awards. They have totally combined the cause for fighting for racial equality and LGBTQ are one.
I think that there has to be a conversation. We know that there are Black people that are part of the LGBTQ community. I think that the NAACP,
like you said, if you don't agree, they're two separate, totally separate.
Right. I can be Black and be for the advancement of colored people, and I can be Black and queer, whatever of the alphabets, and still be for the advancement of colored people. But I don't have, in order for me to be for the advancement of colored people, I don't have to necessarily agree or subscribe to the alphabet community agenda. I think
you still believe that's what
I think we have to get back to the fundamentals of what the NAACP was created for and the mission and purpose. And it's the advancement of colored people. And I mean, we want all colored people to advance, but we get black people has a way of we see something and it's like, oh, let's just go there. And we forget the whole big picture. I think we have to broaden the scope back just a little bit, because what happens is like, oh, well, you got Black trans people. Then you got the next thing you're going to do, we're going to have, you got the light-skinned Black people that have been ostracized because they was light-skinned. And like, we can't keep going down the rabbit hole of just it's the collective. We have to get back to the collective advancement and not just small minor percentages of the population that wants to advance, if that makes sense.
I want to move on to Yana, because honestly, as a Black woman, I'm sick of hearing about Black. I'm sick of hearing about race. I am. And so I want to ask you, what are your thoughts there? I mean, we're in 2023. Is the time to move past this always talking about race?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was hoping that's where the world was going. I mean, when I came to this country, I was pretty much growing up here as a liberal, because I believe that there shouldn't be differences in terms how we see each other, how we interact with each other, that we shouldn't be focusing on race, that is the future of the world. Like, that's what I really believed. And then more and more, it seems like people are focusing on race, on ethnicity, all these different intersectionality, all these different groups that you identify as. People are focusing on that more and more. And with this situation with these two parents, and I mean, when I looked at the award ceremony and all of that, and what they were saying, it's like, is that real life? It looks like a movie. It looks like Hunger Games to me. Like they, all looking all made up and strange, really, and standing there talking about things that nobody in the real world cares. Like, really, they're there to advance uh, colored people, whatever. Then they care about trans. Like, there's people who what are the problems of the people that they supposed to advance? The problems are lack of education, a rising cost of living. What else? We have violence in the neighborhoods, just general poverty that is still people are still experiencing, and they're talking about trans rights. Like, who
And that's
cares?
what I'm talking about. The NAACP image is not of Black people. And I'm disappointed, Kendra, that you can't admit that. They are not about and for Black people. The whole show put up LGBTQ icons. It was hosted by Queen Latifah, who is gay. They also acknowledged Brittany Griner and her wife. For what reason, I do not know, because she got us to get rid of a terrorist because she was irresponsible overseas. And she shouldn't even been on there. But again, they pushing her up. Now you had Gabrielle Union and their trans daughter pushing them up. They put in I think the series that won the whole thing was P-Valley, which is a series about gay men. I mean, how is we should all be infuriated right now. Why is this the image of Black America? It is not. It is not, and we need to passionately come out and say that.
Right.
Because the more we placate, the more we say, we need to have a talk. No, the time for talk is over because it's everywhere and it should not be. So I don't understand how you can say, they need to have a conversation. The time to conversation is done. They have had a whole several hours of talking about LGBT, and that is not Black America.
Right. Look, KJ, I can tell anyone. Yeah, I can tell you why they have Brittany. What her name? Brittany Griner, and I'm not even gonna say her wife, because a marriage is a man and a woman. But whoever this person is she's sleeping with, they had those two there because that's the image that they are now latched onto. They want people to believe, the world to believe, that this is what a marriage really looks like, or Black people anyway really looks like, two women. That's what they want. So they, again, this redefinition, this transformation of meanings and language and words, so that the world sees this image and thinks that, oh, Black people are okay with this. All of them damn people who won, I'm still cursing, I'm sorry. All those darn people who won, every one of them was, again, whatever, the alphabet soup, LGBTQ, whatever, from, like you said, Queen Latifah on down the line. For what? This is not what Black culture or Black life is. These are Hollywood elitists. They're in front of the camera 24/7 anyway. So they need all the likes and accolades. This was what stimulates them, because this is what the life that they live, this movie screen life. This is not real life. Okay, they are playing parts 24/7. They don't know the difference between real life and the life on the screen. They don't live where most people live in real life, having to go out to work, take care of their families, deal with whatever the daily issues are and life's issues. They don't deal with that. They live in a Potemkin village and they live in a facade, and they want the world, the NAACP, to think that this is what most of America looks like. It's not. It's phony. It's fake.
I'll say this, Ellie. I think that, I don't think the whole, all Black people are not a part of the LGBTQ community, but I think that they, and this is just me, there are Black gay people, and they have the right to live their life the way they choose to live in everyday America. Do what you do what works for you. So I think that they wanted to, and again, I don't know, because didn't nobody call and consult me on the script or the show. But I think what they wanted to do was to give people who do live that life a space to say where they can point to say that they have representation.
Oh, no.
But hold on, time out. But I think what they did in doing that is isolate everyone
sick
else.
of hearing about them.
I understand that, but you're not gay. Like, you're not a part
Well,
of
why does the NAACP get to say that only Black people or we only gay? Why not have couples up there? Why not have men and women who are really married? Why not have a whole panoply of people and not just the LGBT?
No, I'm saying I think that where they missed the mark is they did not represent Black people in totality. They represented a subset of Black people, and that is where they missed the mark. If they would have had a few people from the LGBT community, and then they also had representation from straight, you can even throw in interracial in there to show.
Why do we care who people sleep with?
I don't care. I don't.
Why do we need entire speeches and just why do we need to praise people for who they are sleeping with? Why do we need to lift them up and put them on the pedestal for it?
I'm not saying that they should, but when somebody wins, they're gonna get up there and thank their mama and talk about whatever they want because they got the mic, and that's just that. I mean, if I get up there, I'm talking about my nieces and nephews and my sister, because I only have one real sister, and she's gonna make sure I say that. So that would just be what I would talk about. But I think that the people that won, that was what was pressing on them, and that's what they did. Like I said, I think that the where they missed is that we're a monolith. We are not, we're not a monolith. We come in all shapes, sizes.
I'm sick of it. If we gotta talk about LGBTQ every 5 minutes, get rid of it all. I don't want to talk about Black. I don't want to talk about women. I just do the program to highlight the shows.
But because it's not about representation. It's about indoctrination. It's about them, getting across all of their values and points to our communities and our children, because they know that many Black communities are broken. They're without fathers. They're easily influenced. And that's their opportunity, where the parents are going to have their kids in front of the screen thinking they're watching something that are, that's going to be uplifting and something that, is great for Black History Month. And here we are parading around members of the LGBTQ plus community like they are the only representation of Black people. It is a part of the indoctrination process. It is not representation. And on the Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade, if you ask me, he's living vicariously through his son-daughter. With those outfits and things that he has put on and walked around in. And, I feel like, personally, just my opinion, what he's doing is what he's living through her. He wants to come out and put on his dress and heels, but he can't. So what he's doing is allowing his child to do that. And, it is all a bunch of pure foolishness, for us to say that they are representing the Black community when all they're doing is indoctrinating the Black community with this foolishness.
Yeah, you're right on there. It's indoctrination, because it's not even about gay. It's not even about being gay. I mean, they are literally pushing sex changes of children. It's not even about adults consenting to same sex. They are pushing They're pushing trans agenda, mental illness. This is something that used to be on the fringe. They are pushing sex changes for children. How can we sit by and let this continue to go on? We should all be upset by this. We should be out in the streets protesting the NAACP.
Right. Exactly. And KJ, real quick, when I watched that, and I watched that clip in particular several times, and when they panned the audience, what I was even more infuriated when you have these people sitting in the audience and they are co-signing, like she's giving a speech on the monument, Martin Luther King speech. They were, their faces, and they were so in awe, and they were, head shaking. And I said, you all are a bunch of frauds. What you are really doing is co-signing. I'm going to use your word, Kendra. You are indoctrinating the next generation of Black children to go down a road paved to chaos, confusion, misery, and just lies. You're going to get more and more Black children breast cut off, the surgeries you're talking about, in the mental clinics, suicide, drug abuse. You're not helping. This is not the image of Black people that we need to parade around the world and say, this is us.
Yeah. And the crazy thing about it is you have these broadcasters in the mainstream media all villainizing Russia and Putin and the war going on right now. And this man did a whole speech on the immorality of America. And I challenge people to look it up. He did a whole speech talking about how we are a godless nation, how our men are feminine, how we're doing all this to the children, how we have this, homosexuality is running rampant. But he's supposed to be the bad guy.
The whole world. I mean, the rest of the world that is not the West, they're looking at this and they're laughing really at America lately because of these things, because of this constant push. You've seen the ads for U.S. military that was promoting a gay family, and it's just not a good look. I mean, we don't want to. Of course, we shouldn't be. How should I say it? People have rights to live however they want to live. But like you said, when they're pushing it in these major events, this is not just accepting people for who they are. This is promoting it and advertising it. This is what it is. It's an advertisement of this type of lifestyle. And it's saying that this is great, this is wonderful, you should do it. The rest of the world outside of Western Europe, they don't want anything to do with it, and they think it's absolutely ridiculous. And America looks weak every time they look at this. And especially like you said, Black people should stand up against this, because this is the image of Black Americans that the rest of the world is looking at as well. And they don't want anything to do with that too. The image should be of strong men, feminine women, and also, I mean, you could be a strong woman as well, but a woman nevertheless. And so that should be the image around the world. Otherwise, America is not going to succeed this way in any kind of battle.
Absolutely. All right. And again, we can be respectful. We can be respectful and inclusive of all people, but it doesn't have to be pushed in front of us every 5 minutes. You don't hear him talking about handicaps. You don't hear him talking about handicaps like that. It used to be the civil rights movement. They say don't leave out handicap. You don't hear them talking about that. You don't see anybody rolling onto the award show, giving out awards and stuff. We don't see that. I would love to see a cripple come on stage and go up to the mic and talk about raising awareness about handicap. I would love it. We don't see that. It's indoctrination, and we know it. So, that gets us to the end of the show tonight. Thank you so much for watching. Continue the conversation by leaving a comment on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and subscribe. That way you get up-to-the-minute content when we post. And we appreciate the support. We are an independent media, and each time you subscribe, it helps to make our voice that much stronger. We also had, thank you so much, ladies, for coming on tonight. Again, Kendra, thank you so much for coming on. And Shonda, you guys are always welcome back. You brought great perspective tonight. So thank you so much. Again, you can check us out on our website at www.popandpoliticslive.com. We look forward to seeing you next week. Until then, count your blessings and live a life of purpose. Good night.
No, I can't believe this. No. My ancestors did not come here on the Mayflower.
Your ancestors came on the Mayflower.
No.
You are descended
No.
from one of the 101 people who sailed on the Mayflower.
Oof. That's a little bit too much to deal with right now.
Did you ever, in your wildest dreams, think that you may have descended from people who laid
Never.
the foundation
Never.
for this country?
Never.